all greenhouse gas emissions, not just carbon emissions, to the same amount that can be absorbed naturally, commonly known as net zero. To set country-based emission reduction targets and to help out poorer countries. But the agreement didn't address how to do this. That is where economics comes in. It's impossible to understand how this journey can progress without an economic perspective, because nearly every issue that affects the environment comes down in some way to what someone, somewhere, is doing to make or save money, to make a living. Changes to the way people do business are propelled by economic need, and so are completely intertwined with the way we live our lives. There are costs to manage if benefits are to be delivered, and unintended consequences to consider if we are to nurture economies and livelihoods. And so, green issues are revolutionising our economy. In every major industry, we are seeing changes driven by efforts to be greener. This is a truly global story involving vast, complex supply chains, technological innovations, commercial interests, foreign policy, corporate investment. But it doesn't just affect businesses and governments. It impacts all of us in the simplest, most fundamental aspects of our lives. How we power our homes, how we move about, the food we eat, all of it is changing. Economics isn't just a load of dull men or even women in suits talking about statistics on the radio. It's the very fabric of our lives, the physical world that we touch, taste, smell every day. I wanted to bring that global green revolution to life in a way that makes sense to us all, that we can all relate to. So I've explored, chapter by chapter, our typical daily routines, from groping for the light switch and getting dressed, to the daily commute and the buildings we inhabit, and how these everyday habits and actions are affected by the economic changes taking place. And, in turn, how our actions can also affect what is happening in those industries. As I noted in my first book, The Almighty Dollar, it's easy for us as individuals to feel powerless and at the mercy of overwhelming economic forces driven by global powers, governments, and major corporates. The same may feel true of environmental action too, and sometimes it is true. Certain decisions are out of our control. But we can all play a part in influencing outcomes. Even simple things such as the toothpaste or shampoo we choose to buy can make a difference, while other decisions we make can influence companies and governments, nudging them to do the right thing. And so, as we'll see, change is being driven by numerous players. It's changing consumer habits that made Vinted, the web-based marketplace set up by a woman in Lithuania to clear out her wardrobe, into a billion-dollar resale platform with over 100 million users in 15 years. Investor pressure and concerns about obsolescence amid a fast-changing environment have nudged the oil and gas majors into investing in renewables, and manufacturers and retailers to focus on circulatory. States have played a role too, stepping in where the market won't, or to chivvy things along. With his 2022 Inflation Reduction Act, President Biden boasted of the largest investment in clean energy and climate action ever. Real progress is being made. At COP28, negotiators from all nations agreed for the first time on the need to transition away from fossil fuels in energy systems, a major breakthrough. Some were frustrated by the lack of an explicit target for phasing them out, and loopholes in the final text. Bad news sells. Journalists are fully aware that our audiences tend to have a negativity bias and are more likely to focus on what's going awry rather than what's working out, which is possibly why there was more emphasis on that aspect than the positive steps, but they were made nonetheless. Also, in 2023, the Inflation Reduction Act swung into full force, prompting similar action from other governments. A treaty to protect the oceans, 40 years in the making, was agreed. The rate of deforestation in the Amazon slowed after the Brazilian government vowed to phase out.